Ripa has defended her decision to get Botox and revealed how it made her feel more comfortable with herself throughout her career. The 51-year-old television host opened up about how she's gotten the cosmetic procedures done during a recent interview with People for its cover story, where she discussed her new book, Live Wire, Long-Winded Stories. During the conversation, Ripa shared some of her insecurities, as she noted that seeing herself off-camera impacted her decision to get Botox. For me, it was just more of my comfort level. If I worked off-camera, I would not wash my hair with regularity or wear makeup, but when I started to see things that I didn't like, I thought, well, the next turtleneck is going to have 2 eye holes, she said. Ripa went on to address her decision to get Botox and how she stands by it, adding, I'm not saying you should let people bully you into cosmetic procedures. These are my choices for me. She also noted that in her memoir, she's spoken candidly about some of the cosmetics procedures that she's done while on Live with Kelly and Ryan, before sharing her thoughts on the overall aging process. I've always talked about it openly and honestly because I thought really honestly at 40 years old that I was the only person aging and I couldn't figure out why, Ripa said in a video included in her People story. The TV producer went on to detail some of fears that she's had because of aging, including concerns about having to wear a lot of makeup at work and looking older than other people. I kept saying, I need to quit my job because it's too early in the morning, it's too much reading, it's too much work, it's a lot of anxiety, it's too much makeup, and it's weighing on me, and I'm just looking older than everybody else, Ripa added. However, she acknowledged that once she realized what type of procedures she could get done, there was an opportunity to be more open about it. And then once you start talking about what you're having done, people become very open about what they're having done, and then you start trading doctors, she said. Ripa also shared that she included all of her doctors at the end of the book in case her readers wanted to reach out to them. At least in the New York area, if there's somebody you see who you think is good, you should be generous with that information, she added. This wasn't the first time that Ripa expressed her comfort in getting Botox. Back in March 2020, in a since-expired Instagram story, she made a joke about the importance of getting her injections during the pandemic, with Dr. Analik sarcastically calling it very serious medical problem. She also noted how she and her doctor were following social distancing guidelines at the time. These are great CDC rules, and I appreciate them, Ripa said in the story, via page 6. Having said that, in this time we can notice that there's been a lot of worrying. You can see it's written all over my face. But Dr. Analik decided to be brave today and come into work to treat my acute Botox deficiency syndrome. For more than 2 decades, Ripa has been a permanent fixture in morning television. From her early acting days to becoming one of the most recognizable faces on daytime TV, she has built a career on warmth, wit, and honesty. But behind the bright studio lights and infectious energy, Ripa admits she has quietly battled insecurities, particularly about aging in front of millions. Now 51, the television host is speaking candidly about her decision to get Botox, explaining that the choice was deeply personal and rooted in self-comfort rather than outside pressure. In a recent cover interview with People magazine, Ripa reflected on the cosmetic procedures she's had and why she stands firmly by her decision. Her message is clear. This was never about pleasing critics. It was about feeling comfortable in her own skin. Living in the spotlight, Ripa has spent much of her adult life on camera. Hosting daily live television leaves little room for insecurity. Every line, every wrinkle, every tired expression is magnified in high definition. She explained that seeing herself off camera made her far more aware of changes she wasn't entirely comfortable with. For me, it was just more of my comfort level, she shared. If I worked off camera, I would not wash my hair with regularity or wear makeup. But when I started to see things that I didn't like, I thought, well, the next turtleneck is going to have 2 eye holes. The remark was classic Ripa, self-deprecating and humorous, but underneath it lay a genuine vulnerability. Aging in private is one thing. Aging on national television, 5 days a week, is something entirely different. A personal choice, not pressure. One thing Ripa was quick to clarify. She does not believe anyone should feel pressured into cosmetic procedures. I'm not saying you should let people bully you into cosmetic procedures, she emphasized. These are my choices for me. The distinction is important. Ripa has long been open about discussing beauty treatments. Rather than hiding procedures or pretending they don't exist, she believes honesty removes shame from the conversation. In her memoir, Live Wire, Long-Winded Short Stories, she addresses everything from career highs and personal challenges to cosmetic enhancements. For Ripa, transparency feels empowering. She admitted that at one point, she genuinely believed she was the only person struggling with aging. At 40 years old, I thought I was the only person aging and I couldn't figure out why, she joked in a video accompanying her interview. The comment highlights something many viewers may relate to: the strange illusion that everyone else remains frozen in time while we alone confront change. The anxiety of morning television is demanding. The early hours, relentless schedule, and expectation of constant energy take a toll. Ripa revealed that at one stage, her insecurities about aging even made her consider quitting her job. "I kept saying, I need to quit my job because it's too early in the morning, it's too much reading, it's too much work, it's a lot of anxiety, it's too much makeup, and it's weighing on me, and I'm just looking older than everybody else." It wasn't just vanity. It was exhaustion mixed with anxiety. The pressure to look polished while juggling scripts, interviews, and live broadcasting without error. Over time, Ripa realized there were options available that could help her feel more confident. That's when Botox entered the conversation. Normalizing the conversation. Ripa's approach has always been refreshingly candid. Once she began discussing cosmetic procedures openly, she found that others did too. And then once you start talking about what you're having done, people become very open about what they're having done. And then you start trading doctors, she said with a laugh. What once felt taboo suddenly became ordinary. She even went so far as to include her doctors at the end of her book, a gesture she describes as generous rather than promotional. At least in the New York area, if there's somebody you see who you think is good, you should be generous with that information. For Ripa, sharing resources isn't about encouraging procedures, it's about removing secrecy. Beauty, humor, and the pandemic. Ripa's sense of humor has always helped her navigate sensitive topics. Back in March 2020, during the early days of the pandemic, she made headlines for joking about needing her Botox injections. In a now-expired Instagram story, she playfully referred to her acute Botox deficiency syndrome, while her doctor jokingly described it as a very serious medical problem. She emphasized that social distancing guidelines were being followed, but the tongue-in-cheek tone reflected how she views the procedure. Not as a desperate measure, but as a small tool that helps her feel put together. Humor has long been her armor. Aging in Hollywood. Aging is challenging in any profession, but in entertainment, it can feel especially unforgiving. Female television personalities often face harsher scrutiny than their male counterparts. Lines and wrinkles become headlines. Social media magnifies every perceived flaw. Ripa acknowledged that part of her anxiety came from feeling like she looked older than others on set. In reality, many of her peers were likely grappling with similar concerns. By speaking openly, she hopes to dismantle the idea that aging is something to apologize for. Confidence through choice. What stands out most in Ripa's reflections is the idea of agency. Botox for her was not about chasing youth indefinitely. It was about easing specific insecurities so she could focus on her work without distraction. Confidence, she suggests, is not one size fits all. For some, it comes from embracing every line naturally. For others, it might come from subtle cosmetic adjustments. Neither choice is wrong. The key, she insists, is ownership. These are my choices for me. The bigger picture. Ripa's honesty arrives at a time when conversations around beauty standards are evolving. Younger generations are often more transparent about fillers, injectables, and skincare routines. Social media influencers regularly discuss treatments once considered hush-hush. By opening up, Ripa joins a growing number of public figures redefining what transparency looks like. She isn't advocating procedures, she's advocating honesty. Looking back and forward reflecting on her career, Ripa appears grounded. She has weathered industry shifts, co-host changes, and personal milestones while remaining a staple of morning television. Her journey hasn't been without doubt, but today, she speaks with calm assurance. Aging is inevitable. How one responds to it is personal. For Kelly Ripa, Botox became part of that response. Not a mask, not a secret, but a choice that allowed her to feel more like herself. And in a career built on authenticity, perhaps that comfort is the most important thing of all.